heavy conversation here. Come around, guys. Breaking news. So Chiwenga blocks Mnangagwa, the 2030 mantra. So, you should come here. Let's have a chat. And then it's ZBC. I can only say that ZBC is just a shame, honestly. It's a shame. I'm expecting more, honestly. As for me, I really expect international standards. Unfortunately, I don't just watch anything. I'm very, very particular, with all respect. All right, and then also Triple C, the other faction that claims to be of Nelson Chamisa, the one for Promise Mkonansi, where Timba is the leader. Okay, they've confronted, Mudenda. So come around, guys. Let's have a chat. But don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, and also to my regulars. I want to send you some shout out, guys. You must also remember that we need to like the live so that we push algorithm and invite everyone to the conversation. Very, very important. We are on our way to 100,000 subscribers. So please, you guys, share the videos with everyone in your groups. Let us have a conversation. It's time. It's time. Gone are the days where we're just going to sit back and let people play with our destinies. This time we will talk. So I want to send some love here to Nessa. Good to see you, man. James, good to see you. Welcome, guys, to our weekend show. And this is actually our afternoon show. All right. So can I tell you, do you also know that Zimbabwe is always going to be on the spotlight of wrong? I can tell you, I was shocked to actually hear people in America comparing what Trump is going through right now with Zimbabwe. I mean, people had access to that video. All right, let me let you listen to the video. Trump Jr. is actually comparing what's happening to Trump in America with what happened to Kasukwire, where you block competitors. I was shocked. I'm like, I didn't know that we are this popular. You understand what I'm saying? We are now very much popular for the wrong things all the time. So please, guys, take a listen to Donald Trump Jr., please. Very interesting. Take a listen.
Trump Jr. On a podcast in the aftermath of the verdict. Watch.
The Democrats have succeeded in their years-long quest to turn America into a whole country. There can be no doubt that has been their plan all along. This is third world banana republic looks like. Yeah, if this happened in Zimbabwe, we'd be like, that's really bad.
Right. Can you hear that? I want to repeat it just so at least you can hear properly. Okay. They're like, America? No. Okay, my apologies.
Donald Trump Jr. On a podcast in the aftermath of the verdict. Watch.
The Democrats have succeeded in their years-long quest to turn America into a whole country. There can be no doubt that has been their plan all along. This is third world banana republic looks like. Yeah, if this happened in Zimbabwe, we'd be like, that's really bad.
Can you hear that? That's when it's happening in Zimbabwe, we're like, oh, that's very bad. But now that it's happening in America, where Biden is fighting tooth and nail to block Trump. I don't know if he's blocking Trump, or some people have said Trump is guilty, whatever the case may be. But again, Biden don't have the right to block his competitors. Anyway, we're going to talk about Trump at the last, at the last chapter of our show tonight. All right, so moving on. Zimbabweans, I just want to ask you, there's something wrong with some of our brothers and sisters. The level for thinking, it's really sad. So that South Africa is actually fighting, for its own success in terms of elections. One thing that I want to tell you is that South Africans are very much, they're nation oriented. They don't care really about positions like Zimbabweans do. I know why, because of poverty. I mean, in Zimbabwe, people are desperate because they know they can get a job. It's about jobs, but this one don't care. They have jobs, they have businesses. All they want is simply to be part and parcel of, so maybe they can get opportunities or be able to play around with their friends. You know how black people are, right? Yeah. But also the white people, the DA, are saying, no, we need to protect the legacy. There's a lot of corruption and crime in this country. Now, should I send out a message to Zimbabweans? Because some of them are mocking EFF, that EFF didn't do well. But trust me, EFF, to me, in my opinion, they did incredibly well. I'll tell you why. I'm a firm believer that life is all about impact, than it can be about position. As long as you're impacting lives, that's all that matters. EFF has been doing a lot of projects, giving houses at school students, helping pay school fees. That's all that matters, not about positions. So yeah, Shade sent a message to Zimbabweans. We are mocking EFF online, and he said, Zimbabweans, mocking Malema makes you doubt the claim that Zimbabweans are intelligent. The only guy who actually wants you in that country, legal or illegal, is the same guy that you are mocking. People don't think. Also, you must also remember that on Twitter you actually get paid. So I think some people are just hyping on impressions so that at least they can monetize their own content, which is wrong. We need to know where to draw the line. Correct. Let's know where to draw the line. Now, like I said, we were sitting, I think that was about 90 something, if I'm not mistaken. Hey. And ANC is just playing around 40-41%, so they are struggling. They can't reach even 43 or 45. They are struggling. They didn't make it, unfortunately, to actually be able to preside on the country. So there's going to be coalitions. Like I said, it's because South Africans are nationally oriented. They're not like us, Zimbabweans. People are fighting for positions. ZANU-PF people are simply fighting for position. You ask questions, what do you want to do with the position? They don't have a reason. They just want to be in parliament. What are you going to offer? Nothing. Nothing, except to protect my dirty deals. You know what I mean? I just want to be there so I can protect my dirty deals. All right. So, yeah, we know it's burning in South Africa. But other people are comparing EFF with Nelson Chamisa. You know how people are, But Fazema said the moral of the story is that any political party that befriends and it tries to copy ZANU-PF will annihilate the majority of its population, because most Africans don't want their countries to be destroyed and run down the way ZANU-PF has destroyed Zimbabwe. We need new leaders. You also heard that, in fact, ZANU-PF, according to sources, they actually blessed ANC with almost 3 million. I don't know if it's rands or dollars, but I guess it's maybe rands. Just towards the election. And we all know why. There's an issue of 2030 mantra that ZANU-PF is desperate. We're going to get into much of that details shortly. They're desperate. You know what I mean? The mantra is getting louder and louder, but at the end of the day, the countries are pushing, the citizens are pushing back. 2030, no, it is a no, and it is a no. And we repeat, we do not want to hear about 2030. Tell us what you're doing currently. That's what we focus on. And I also want you guys to know that I'm going to come back around 9:30. And 9:30 when I come back, I'm going to give you opportunity to also speak. So we're going to have got a number of people who want to join in the conversation, as we'll be discussing President Mnangagwa's relationship with Ramaphosa. And where to from now, since both of them have been, flagged. Nothing. Ramaphosa, people want him out. President Mnangagwa, Zimbabweans want him out. So where to from here? So Jess said ZANU-PF is always referred as a bad example around the world. When they want to say something is extreme, they throw Zimbabwe. Even Donald Trump's son said what is happening to his daddy is not even illegal in Zimbabwe. That's how bad it is. Look, we saw what happened in Zimbabwe when Serbia was decimated by ZANU-PF, because they were afraid. You see, this is what was going to happen last year if Sevia Kasukure had, an opportunity to also, contest. What Zuma did to Ramaphosa and ANC, that's exactly what, Sevia Kasukure's mission was. To decimate, numbers for ZANU-PF, so at least we could have a nation that is stable. But let's see where we are going now, because there's still talks around the country, I think around the world, that nobody's happy with what's going on in the country. So people are going to do everything in their power to make sure at least we rescue ourselves from this quagmire. Let's see. We are watching, and following those conversations on social media. We can see, all places people are talking. What's happening in Zimbabwe right now? The Singles of Shavangu Saga. It does not represent who we are as a Zimbabwean community. All right. You also remember that we were trolled badly by Fikile Mbalula. Remember last year? And I remember I told you, Viva Mnangagwa, Viva, or Mnangagwa Huchi. I don't know what it was given by ZANU-PF. Remember, he was in Harare and, shared some stuff. And before you know it, and, they started supporting ZANU-PF's shenanigans, at the expense of citizens who are desperate to see a better country. Sorry, but I said Fikile Mbalula enjoyed trolling us. I remember at one point we dotted him. The elections gave him the final dot. It's close for NC. NC, it's closer for you. When you saw evil, it comes back. But this karma is really, it came back very quickly. It came back very quickly, yeah. Right. Came back, but please bless me. Okay, so we're gonna move on. But I told you, as much as we have all this that's going on around ANC, I just want to say to South Africans that the most mature people in politics, when you listen to all these politicians currently, they're all speaking about coalitions. I never heard anyone who says, I want to take this thing. It's mine, like what some people have done. Go there. Just no. They're calm. They just say, all we want is coalitions to build our country moving forward. So what's on the table currently is who can I be with? You know what I mean? Who can I be with? Who can I play with? That's what's happening right now on the table. And once again, we are just following. Maturity is very important. And we need the same in Zimbabwe. Maturity in politics. Where you don't have to be angry because you don't support a different political party. You are like, hey, I love it because, you know what? You, Sir John, is supporting ED, or supporting Kasukura, or supporting Linda, or supporting Chamisa, or any or Chapman, whoever the person may be, but we're still respecting each other. That's a Zimbabwe that we want. We are tired of toxic politics. I guess toxic politics won't work for anybody. It won't work, right? So, allegations are there's also rigging on the cards, but still, I told you, Julius Malema, because he wanted peace, say, hey guys, I just want to move on. I don't want to follow any other thing. All this fighting of say they were rigging, allegations of rigging, we really do not care. But I wanted you to listen to what DA had to say. Very important. I'll tell you why people are saying they're accusing DA for rigging, right? But I said to other people, don't ever underestimate the power of service delivery. Because DA is known for really service delivery. But others are saying, no, but they rigged this election. Again, because there's no way black people would vote for DA. But the question is, can you compare the whites in the apartheid era and the whites of today? They are not the same. They are not the same. It's like a Zimbabwean context. You hear ZANU-PF say, we don't want white people, but they gallivant with them. The whites for them during the time of Smith and now are not the same. They're very different. They are so much, embedded within the black community, so they understand and they can all gel with anybody. So, guys, I don't buy the issue of not that I can. I'm actually try to discount it. Maybe they rigged the election, but my point is, it's no longer the same. People want service delivery. They don't want the rhetoric of say you're a black or you're a white person. Nobody really care about your color. People simply want to see water. And DA has been doing incredibly well in the issue of service delivery. Take a listen, please.
Looking at these results, are you ready for coalition talks now with the ANC?
Well, I think it's still premature, and we remember are part of something called the Multi-Party Charter, which is a group of 11 parties that signed a pre-election pact. We obviously will have to sit and look at what the results were for those parties to see what is possible for us to cobble together, either at provincial level or potentially nationally, whether we can widen the broad spectrum of the charter to include parties that weren't part of it beforehand. But that'll be the first port of call. If that's not enough to form a majority anywhere, we'll obviously then have to move on to the next chapter, which is looking at how do we collectively look to form a stable government. I think there comes a time when you have to put the country's interests first, and you need to act in the best interests of the country. I think instability is not in the best interests of the country. A coalition with the radical left in South Africa, of the MK party and the EFF, will produce the same policies that destroyed Zimbabwe, destroyed Venezuela, and we want to avoid that. And we believe that we need to then build a rational center to be a bulwark against those radicals from getting into power.
And time is of the essence because Parliament needs to sit within 14 days of the final results being announced. So you really don't have that much time to make a decision. Have you started any kinds of talks with the ANC at the moment?
No, I think the ANC is still in a state of shock. I think that they were campaigning right up until election day with the fact that they were going to get over 50%. It looks like they're going to end up close to 41%. Significantly short of a majority. So I think they're still coming to terms with that. But I imagine that once the reality sets in, they will start reaching out to various parties across the spectrum. And they're going to have to make a choice. Do they go in with radicals who are going to take the economy down the terrible road towards radical socialism, or are they going to choose to partner with more rational parties? But I think that those things will start to become clearer in the days ahead once the results are finalized and once parties start to see the cards that have been dealt.
And quickly, of course, the EFF and MK will challenge those perceptions. But in terms of what the ANC could offer you, what would be your requirements from the ANC?
Well, it's still too early to say. I mean, we don't even know who we're going to be dealing with. Is President Ramaphosa going to survive being the first president of his party to lose their majority? The jury's still out on whether he's going to. I mean, who are we talking to? Paul Mashatile, corruption accused, someone I've laid criminal charges against. So all these things need to become clear in the days ahead, but certainly non-negotiables for us would be respect for the rule of law and the Constitution, a social market economy that treats the private sector as partners in the growth agenda, a zero tolerance for corruption and cadre deployment, and an absolute laser-like focus on economic policies that grow jobs.
So looking at these results,
I love it. Can you hear? Zero tolerance to corruption. Sometimes I wish we've got a white party in Zimbabwe. Honestly, that it was really strong. I would vote for them. That is nonsense what we are seeing today. What chaos. It's an embarrassment. Like, honestly, what I see in the Zimbabwe side, honestly, it's the worst thing ever. And let me tell you, you can still sit with those guys who says we are an educated community and sanitize the crap. They can sanitize the nonsense. Yesterday, I actually attended a space on Twitter. So they were actually they were questioning Sheki, the MP, ZANU-PF MP, the youngest MP in Chegutu, the one that grabbed the place, the record guy, and then he took that place after, the Shavangu saga. He was asking a simple question and say, sir, what do you think about Shavangu? You know what he said? You know what the thing is politics. It was a political strategy. And I'm sitting on the other side, I'm like, sir, there's a difference between political strategy and satanism. They are not the same. Political strategy is what Zuma did. That's a political strategy. It's to cause chaos and come in when nobody even expecting, then you come in and whoop the people. Fair play. If maybe Serbia would have done the same, but for you to think what happened in Zimbabwe with Sengezo Shavangu was a political strategy, you're a fool to say that. That's foolishness. That was the worst thing that could be done in a nation like Zimbabwe. It's embarrassing. You can't even open your mouth and say that, but that can show you how we have lost principles. The lack of principles is the reason why Zimbabwe is flat. Lack of principles. People don't have the difference between right and wrong. Anyone can do whatever they want. It is a shame, but here out, people are serious. South Africans are focusing on building their nation. Nobody's fighting to have the cake. Everyone is saying, let's come together. We can build our nation. That's what we were expecting. Even after ZANU-PF grabbed this whole thing, do you know what? I was going to respect them if they could have actually appointed the right people in terms of ministerial positions and say, hey guys, we need to build our nation. But you know what they did? They're giving their friends who don't have no qualifications to do the job. Everything is chaos. We are going from bad to worse. Respect for South Africans. And I'm so glad they to do away with ANC. I'm glad. Great work right there. So those who compare Zuma and Sengezo Shavangu, it's nonsense. And I also had to send a message. I was like, no, there is a huge difference, like I told you, between wickedness and political strategy. Zuma can never be compared with Shavangu. Never. Never be compared with Shavangu. Never. In fact, what's going on with Shavangu currently have shown you the level of stupidity that is among people that you call leaders in the country. Stupidity. What they don't see is they are destroying the country. Because you trying to set, what type of example are you setting to the young people? What are you setting to young people? Because a wiser person will know that, no, if I want to do whatever strategy I'm taking, should be to the benefit of the nation and giving a good name on the nation. Today, we're just being called. You heard DA saying the same, we don't want this country to go down like Zimbabwe. You heard America saying the same, we don't want that nonsense like Zimbabwe. Guys, when are we going to restore sanity in the country? When are we going to stand as Zimbabwe and say, guys, this is not who we are? That's why I'm disappointed with the people in parliament, people in the government. I'm disappointed. And I'm saying this openly. And I would like this message to reach out to them and say, I'm extremely disappointed. I did not expect you to behave the way that you do. You know why? You made one mistake. One mistake of allowing us to go out of the country. Now we have seen how other countries are being run. We are very much aware of how governments should operate. Unfortunately, the way you're behaving, it's embarrassing. It is a shame in 2024. It's sad, very sad. All right, almost 400 people here. I'm going to ask you to like the live. Make sure that you push algorithm. We need to invite everyone to the conversation. It's time. It's time we converse. No one should be threatened by anybody. Every Zimbabwean deserves to be in that country. And no one has the right or monopoly to the nation. we must all start having conversations. Okay, God bless you. You know, bless you. You must now make sure that you like the left and bless you. All right, so moving on, guys. ZBC. Okay, ZBC. I can't wait for us to be out of the hands of ZANU-PF. I'm going to be honest with you. I just cannot wait because the level of toxicity they're spreading today. No. Vanonoshanda with ZBC, especially young people. What do you think about the kind of work that you guys are doing? Are you proud of your work? Forget about politicians. You need to ask yourself questions. Are you proud of your work that you're doing? Are you proud of your work? Let me read what they sent out online today. They said the elevation of CCC Sengezo Shavangu as a leader of opposition in parliament has been described as a progressive move which confirms that Zimbabwe is a working democracy. This is ZBC. This files in the face of former CCC leader Nelson Chamisa, who has been trying to seek political relevance after being left in the cold by his colleagues. Citizen Coalition for Change Interim Secretary General Sengezo Shavangu was this Thursday confirmed as the focal person between government and the opposition, with several other party members appointed to serve in the various portfolio committees. That's ZBC. I'm talking about Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation. I'm not talking about another radio station in the corner. Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation. You've sent out this message. And I'm asking you a question. If you are working for ZBC and you are here, what do you say about your life and the kind of person that you are? Have you ever asked yourself questions? Who am I? Where am I going? Why am I allowing myself to be used to push wrong narratives all the time by whoever may be? Did you ever ask yourself those questions? Because this is the worst that can ever happen for a radio station, for a country now. It's like SADC trying to destroy itself. Because you saying these kind of words, you know, hailing a man who's destroying your future is the highest level of stupidity any person can ever do. And I'm saying this respectfully. It's your destiny that you're playing with. It's your destiny. You know, it's your future. And you are hailing a man who came from nowhere, from the street, and found himself in a position that he's not even qualified for. And then you are hailing that. To it makes sense. I know some people may say, no, but because you want a job, no. If that can cost you a job, let it go. You know why? God will make another way for you. You see, one of the reasons why Zimbabwe is taking so much time to change is because people are still not yet changed. We must be a society who stands for what's right, notwithstanding we want a job. Stand for what's right. Always. I want to give you a story, my experience. I worked for an architecture early in my 20s. Very qualified architecture. I can't mention his name because you will be known, you know. But I'm sure now he's grown. He was around 53 or so, if I'm not mistaken. And I was around 22 years old, young, fresh from the box, you know. And this guy worked for him, but I could see his moves in the conversation that they were not good. You know, he moved my office from where he was working from his house. He was operating from his house, and his wife, incredible, beautiful wife, amazing. And he said, well, I'm supposed to work at the houses that he was building, very well unknown architecture. And while I was working at that place, this man began to do all his drama. You to see him buying things. You know, they do that. You know, sexual harassment at work. Yeah. So one day I was like, no, man, I need to make this very clear to this man. As much as I was young or smart, I mean, I grew up from the church, you know, very traditionally raised in the AFM church. You know, I said to him, listen, sir, I don't think what you want me to do for you, I'll be able to do so. So this man was very angry, and he lied against me to his wife. And then before you know it, he fired me. I loved my job. I was desperate for I really loved my job because I was excited. I told my parents I got a job, excited as ever. You know, now I'm being fired. Yeah, I was being hit by a car crying, crossing the road. That was the North Gate, if I'm not mistaken, yes. You know, but because I've always been a person who believes in God and who knows that God can make a way anytime, any minute, any day. So I went back home and I called the God of my father that I know, Yahweh. I said, you told me that if I have to make a decision, and I used to tell myself like I want to be like Joseph, I want to be like Joseph. And I prayed. Within 3 days, God gave me a new job. They actually hired me to work for 2 weeks. In 3 days, they called me to give me a permanent job. My salary was 5 times the month this man was giving me. I was the highest paid person in that department because I stood with God. I stood for the right things, principles. Majority of people in Zimbabwe are destroying themselves because they lack principles. I can't believe we've got men and women today who are celebrating what Chiwenga has done. It's Satanism. You should stand firm and say, not again, not in this land. Those are principled people. Look, I could have been maybe desperate for a job, give myself out. The question is, where would I be today? Life comes with sacrifices. Zimbabweans need to start sacrificing for what's good and stand and say, not in this land. Won't allow this kind of things. You're going to have to know. And this guy can be removed like tomorrow. Leave right now and be arrested. It's criminal. That's why I've got to remove respect for the war vets who stand for what's right. Because we are failing simple principles that can take us forward. Celebrating nonsense. That's why I feel pity for those that are working for ZBC who endorse such. Editors who endorse such. And you are going back home to your wife and said, I'm coming from work. You're not serious. You're joking. You were joking. You're joking. All right, so moving on. Chiwenga denied to be part of the Mandra 2030 Mandra. There's a video circulating where President Mnangagwa is calling him and say, hey, you need to, to greet the people. First of all, when they were saying Mnangagwa 2030, he did not lift up his head. He was just sitting and look. He was called to go to the front and ask him to actually do the mantra like everyone is doing. He never did. And the people stood for him. He's got these other people on his corner and said, why do you allow yourself to be used to push a narrative that is not right? So there are people on social media who are questioning, what was that for when you supported the coup, considering where the country is today? What was that for? You supported the coup, but where are we as a country? Are you happy with where the country is taking today? Did you guys saw my post story? Singing at the church, Mano Hayaman Street, to dress a regalia of the church, to lie before God. Yeah, guys, I honestly, I know God is merciful. Yes, I realize that God is very merciful. Because if it was the God that I know, not the one of Ananias and Sapphira, the one that answers by fire, you know what I mean? He's very patient. Yahweh is good. He's patient. But the nonsense that I'm seeing in the country, honestly, God is patient. But Chiwenga is not buying it. He said, no, I'm not gonna buy it. So people stood by his side. It's got these people from his angle who are saying, hey, you worked hard in 2017. You endorsed the coup. And look where we are. Is that what we were expecting as a country? Is that way? So we're gonna listen to Karina live here. She did, questioning him. But like I said, she has been in the system. She knows him. I'm not Chiwenga and Mnangagwa very closely. I've never been in the ZANU-PF system. I don't even know how they operate. I'm not even interested. But she's been there. And she went after him and asked you questions. What are y'all doing? Take a listen.
Idi wakaenda kumashisti wewe uchida kunevhuro wakwenda novhura chikolo chiya ndowakachivaka chikolo chakavakusoka kwateneza go non-governmental organization ndowakachivaka chikolo chakasovakwa nguva yemugabe ndowakachivaka chakavakwa negovernment of Zimbabwe kuda kusikolo nyepera vanhu kuda kunzi hanzi une zvauri kuita zvisvinu pasina zvauri kuita wasvika kumashiist woda kusikolo kuti tuma MP twako woda kutosikolo kuti ushandisa kuti nhasi toda mupedzera panapa Chiwenga. You don't do that next time in our backyard in Mashist. Imi mane kumashist mungware. Ingani last time kurali pakanzi nasoro jena pasine mbava maangonotora machikeni ni makaenda. This time makusiya munhu wedu Chiwenga chito kuda kutosumudza Chiwenga da mutisa ED 2030 brati shit ED. Kuda kutosikono jairira kuda kunodenigrata muchita chigutu nezvishavane nonsense enyu kumashist kuda kuita Chiwenga kunge munhu asina kukwana. It will not work. So that can all be about ndakaendoswa parali yekuchikomba district vakanditi vakundida kuti ndiite 2030 yekupi waitire chinyika. chawaitira Zimbabwe chi unovhoterwa nevana vako vanhu vako chete ndovakukuvhotera zvekuti unoda kuti vanhu vako vavo chete vagute une hutsinye ed shameless. We are seeing you next time on the Kumash East. Muende kumarari makabata mpinyi makaisa mabhegi kana mumatrousers nematombo idi akada ngotanga kuderera Chiwenga chete nerekeni pa temai munhu. Enough is enough, man. Who are you wewe idi wewe? Depasina Chiwenga uri president wewe sigwara rosoro nyepera vanhu tanzi enda kafamba netsoka kuenda kuMozambique yonogona ufambei. Udaskoro jairira pese pawana Chiwenga any space yavangopiwa pawangoenda papodium uda unodzikisira Chiwenga. Depasina Chiwenga uri munhu here wewe ungada uri president wewe. Respect your elder. Chiwenga is your elder. ed sack.
All right.
Vanhu vekumashi isi ndati next kumarali aidi anetwe kwako is either you boycott kana mafunga kuenda reken dombo mpinyi yemapadza akangotanga futi temai munhu.
All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So, wow. For those that may want to go and listen to the video, you're more than welcome to do so. That is Karina Live, if I'm not mistaken. You know, there are things that I'm not going to be standing here and supporting violence. But one thing I must say, honestly, is that it bleeds me. It bleeds my heart to see people signing out in this world in such a manner. And this makes me wonder, the people that advise President Mnangagwa, who are those people? The people that advise him, the attorneys around him, who can actually see where the country is heading, who does not have the mercy to give him the right advice to say, hey, sir, it's okay. You've done your part. You played the race well. Please, do it right. I don't understand why Zimbabweans can fail such a simple thing. I can sit down with my father, his children as well. I can sit down with my father and say, Daddy, no, this is not on. This is not okay. I will tell him, I can tell him, he knows I can. You know why? Because I want my father to sign out properly. You see, we can't have another drama like we did with Robert Mugabe. You remember, they're fighting, they're shouting, You remember with Grace Mugabe shouting and screaming at a rally, talking to people anyhow. I can't even afford to go through the same thing again. And I'm like, where the attorneys that are advising the president, the advisors around him, why can't they just say, hey, sir, let's do the right thing. Bring our people together. Let's sit around the table. Guys, there's so much power in class and etiquette. Look at South Africans. Nobody's grabbing anything. Let's come around the table. We're going to fix our country. Simple. Focus on important things. They focus on corruption, on crime. Here we are. Same old thing. When are we going? That's why, again, I will still remind you to say the people who are attorneys are Zimbabweans. My advisors around the prison are Zimbabweans. Family are Zimbabweans. When are we going to stop being selfish and saying, for the sake of a nation, we're going to do the right thing? For the sake of a legacy. You know, a legacy is so important. A good name is better than all other things that we are busy focusing on. They are not really important. With that being said, we're going to move on to Welshman Ngube. So this morning, welcome to Welshman Ngube, sending out a letter. This is what I want to tell you. Mr. Ngube, honestly, let's stop this drama that you're doing. Once again, guys, is it difficult to just send out this word in a proper manner and leave a strong legacy of doing the right? Because Ngube is messing up with our minds. Now, you know, Sengezo Shavangu was appointed in parliament, right? Now, and again, also the allegation that it's going to be given the party money, like the political party money, right? Now, this morning, we woke up to a letter that was sent out by the so-claimed, I'm going to say, it's not the faction. The so-faction is two people who decided to just play around with ZANU-PF and lie that it's a different faction. And they were claiming that they are from the MDC, but they're still using the CCC name. Now, these ones have decided to remove Chamisa's face, but they still use CCC. But the letter that we saw circulating that was alleged that was sent out by Sanges Shavangu has Chamisa's face, even though Chamisa is not in the party, right? So there are two people who are messing up with our minds. Sengezo Shavangu as an individual who's claiming to have decimated the entire 2.something million who voted for Chamisa and claimed that he is Triple C. We also today we are having Chiwenga who's claiming also that him and these other people, cabal, who believes there's also Triple C, but they don't have Chamisa's face anymore. He's writing a letter today, sending out this letter. And let me read the statement he sent. He said, Office of the Acting President, but people are saying, who signed it? No, that's Mafume. Mafume, whom again is trending because ZANU-PF is saying to him, this guy is moving around with a motorcade. You should not. If he can be caught again with a motorcade, he's going to be arrested. This is what I saw on social media. I'm going to read this statement that was sent out this morning. The Standing Committee met in the emergency meeting following the developments in Parliament on the 29th of May and the 30th of May 2024. In the particular, the recession of appointments made by Jameson Timber and the announcement of a new leadership of the Triple C by the Speaker of Parliament on respectively. Right. The Standing Committee noted the correct decision, namely the recession of the appointments made by Jameson Timber, and therefore notes the recession affected by the Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Mudenda, on the 29th of May 2024. However, the leadership noted that the new appointment made on the 30th of May 2024 were done without the involvement of the Citizen Coalition for Change led by Professor Chiwenga, and prior to party organs having met that's what they wanted to say, to deliberate the manner. Consequently, and after deliberations, the Standing Committee noted that to the extent that those engagements with the Speaker of Parliament have been ongoing, these ought to continue with a view to rectify the anomaly and ensure that the new appointments are legitimate. 6. Meanwhile, the Standing Committee agreed on the imperative for National Executive and the National Council of the party be convened to take stock of progress made in revitalizing and repositioning the party toward a genuine democratic struggle. So that is Ngube and Mafume. They are talking about a democratic struggle. 7. The leadership resolved to deepen its stakeholders engaging in efforts to foster confidence based on the party's founding values that anchor the democratic struggle. The leadership restarted its commitment to strengthen the party's capability to improve the livelihoods of our citizens through the institutionalization of the party in terms of the constitution. This JMA for me. So my point is, last time they were saying they are working with Tendai Biti said, I'm out of this. I'm not part of that. He's also pursuing his calling, overseas. And he also mentioned that he's going to come back and join his, I know he's going to be coming back and join Chamisa and other people to fight, this war nonsense of 2030, whatever it's called. And then JMA for me here and Chiwenga are pretending to be this kind of a party that does not exist. Hoodwinking Zimbabweans that there is a party that does not exist. We have also a Shavangu guy, an individual, who came with his bodies. Oh, by the way, the other guy that was part of Shavangu died, passed away. And my condolences to you, sir. You went to heaven this morning, actually, if I'm not mistaken. I saw some people call him a sellout. But no, as for me, I'm not interested in the word sellout. I want to focus on important things. So, Mafume is masquerading and with Chiwenga as a party that is nowhere to be found. It's just a facade, selling people a dummy. On the other hand, Chiwenga is doing exactly the same. But we all know who the party is. It's Chamisa and the other people that he was leading. Against Chamisa resigned, on paper, but they said, in spirit, he's still fully part and parcel of. These are simply speculations, but he keeps on saying, guys, I don't have a party. So let me respect him. He doesn't have a party. Okay. So these are simply lies. Again, I'm going to say, at what point are we going to look at each other as Zimbabweans and say, what kind of leadership is this? Do you know what, under normal circumstances, Mafume don't even qualify to be a mayor? Do you know, and I'll tell you why. Because it's already falling short. How can you be a mayor, a man who's not principled? Under normal circumstances, Mafume does not qualify to be a mayor in Harare, unfortunately. But they masquerade in lying playing with people's minds. But there's nothing here. Guys, there's nothing going on here. They're simply playing around with ZANU-PF. I'm grateful that Chamisa left. You know what? They were expecting to waste his time. Because they're toxic. They have nothing to do. They're simply doing nothing except to produce toxicity daily. Wasting people's time by simply hijacking their destinies and just doing drama unnecessarily. But the country is going south. We're expecting them to do the work, not to bring us all these shenanigans. We're not interested in drama. We are interested in seeing the country moving forward in terms of work. How are they building the country? They hijacked this war election last year, and then where are they today in terms of work? That's what Zimbabweans want to hear, not all the nonsense. We don't have time for this. It's very important for them to know that we do not care. What we want to hear is a Zimbabwe that functions. Work that is being done, Cab drug pandemic in the country. The government can do it. Corruption, the government should do it. And they can do it. Because most of people who are corrupt are within the government space. All right? Then Timber, for the other CCC, who's also, again, I told you, claiming that Chamisa's two-parent party said is not. They had a presser yesterday where they said quite a number of things, addressing Mudenda. So they did confront Mudenda after he said he had, rejecting the appointment of Timber. So I want you to take a listen to Timber responding to Advocate Mudenda, or the Speaker of Parliament. Very interesting. Take a listen to Timber, please.
Thank you very much, members of the press, for coming. Apologies for delays in our start. We have just concluded a meeting of our Citizens National Assembly, which is the highest policy-making body of the CCC. By way of background and context, I want to say that the Zimbabwean Parliament is now a circus. And the chief muppet in this circus is Sengezo Shabang, who is being cheered and aided by the so-called MDC 2019 structure led by Professor Wolfman Ncube and others. The puppet master is ZANU-PF. The events of the past week have shown every right-thinking person in Zimbabwe, the region, and the international community that Zimbabwe is not yet ready to be a democratic nation. From August 2023, it was clear that the regime had no intention of letting anyone participate in a free contest to determine who should govern this country. State institutions, in particular ZEC, did everything in their power to deny Zimbabweans their right to choose their leaders in a free and fair election. Against all odds, Zimbabweans stayed the course. They stayed in queues for up to 4 a.m. to exercise their right to choose their leaders. The outcome of the election, which was condemned by all the civilized world, including our region, was not a reflection of the will of the people of Zimbabwe. It was a charade, and its outcome illegitimate. It did not end there. From October 3, 2023, the Muppet, Sengezo Shabang, was born with our erstwhile colleagues in tow providing midwifery services. the parents of this Muppet were always known to be ZANU-PF. From October 3, the Muppet, aided by state institutions, went on a rampage to wreak havoc in Parliament and our councils with the intention of reversing the people's will. Willing pawns were found from our number to fill vacancies left by the true representatives of the people. The bigger chunk of the space, however, was reserved for the puppet master, who needed 2/3 majority so that they can mutilate our constitution to entrench their power over us. So far, they've achieved that. On Tuesday this week, the Speaker of Parliament then set in motion the final steps of the system's nefarious agenda. He maliciously delivered a judgment in Parliament, exuding the aura of a judge, robe and all, albeit without the wig. He delivered a judgment without hearing anyone, based on falsehood. He alleged that I had made appointments in Parliament irregularly when I did not do such a thing. What I had done in my capacity as the leader of our party was to notify him that we had given authority to our Parliament whip to fill vacancies by advising the Clerk of Parliament. This correspondence is available for the public to see, and I will make it public. He also made a bizarre finding that I could not represent my party because I had been recalled, and I had lost my court challenge to that recall. No, Mr. Speaker, you are wrong. There are two aspects to a recall. The first part is the declaration of cessation of membership, which then leads to a recall. Whilst it is true that a recall should be challenged in court, in a court of law, the cessation of membership is an internal matter that can be resolved by the party itself. In that regard, the CCC, Citizens National Assembly, set aside all the bogus declaration of cessation of members for all its members who were unlawfully recalled by Sengezo Shabab. So whilst they remain recalled, because a recall can be challenged in court, they are bona fide members of the CCC, because it is only CCC which can determine its membership. Not the Speaker of Parliament, not a court of law, or another political party. The second falsehood was that I had been barred from standing as a candidate in the December 3 by-elections. No, Mr. Speaker, sir. You should know better that senators and PR MPs like me do not contest by-elections. How on earth would you make a finding that I was barred from contesting an election that I never were nominated to contest? I was a senator elected on the basis of proportional representation. Therefore, your reflections leading to your rescission of the appointments that we had made was based on a falsehood. In addition, we resubmitted our appointees to Parliament the following day after the Speaker had made his announcement. That resubmission was done, as in the previous case, under the hand and signature of our Chief Whip, supported by the signature or co-signed by our Head of Legal Services, Honorable Agents Group. The Speaker of Parliament also received two other submissions of a list of appointees. One from the Mapet Sengezo Shabang, and another from another component of that grouping, which is claiming the name of CCC. The Speaker of Parliament is a lawyer, and he knows that the moment he received on the same day more than one submission for the same vacancies, he could not act on them. He could not choose which of the two to consider. He now needed to refer this matter to some form of a judicial tribunal. By making a decision to say, I will consider Shabangu's, not the one submitted by our chief whip, that decision in itself was unlawful. His unlawful decision led to the unlawful appointment of a new set of officials of parliament. It is therefore a nullity. The malice behind the charade came out clearly on what he did on Thursday. On Thursday, not only did he reverse the appointments that he alleged I made, but he also reversed the appointments which had been made by our former president, Advocate Nelson Chamisa. The question that I ask Mr. Speaker, say, did you reverse those appointments on account of the fact that Advocate Nelson Chamisa had been recalled? And recalled from where and by who? His actions on Thursday reflect that the original decision to rescind the initial appointments had nothing to do with the reasoning that he gave, but it had everything to do with a premeditated agenda to hand over the control of the CCC in Parliament to their Mapet Sengezo Shabang. I challenge the Speaker of Parliament that if what I'm saying is not correct, come out into the public and tell the people of Zimbabwe that in your capacity as Speaker of Parliament, a person who is supposed to manage the Parliament in a non-partisan manner, were you acting in the interest of Zimbabwe, or were you acting in the interest of ZANU-PF?
Yeah, it's definitely a circus, honestly. Yeah.
I put it to the Speaker that the Speaker was acting for and on behalf of the Politburo of ZANU-PF and not the Parliament of Zimbabwe. I put it to the Speaker of Parliament that that agenda was meant to remove the opposition in Parliament and replace it with a synthetic opposition of his party's choice, which would dance to the whims and caprices of the ZANU-PF agenda, including the so-called 2030 agenda, which intends to extend the term of office of this government outside what is expected, i.e., without the authority of the people of Zimbabwe. The Speaker of Parliament failed in his constitutional obligations by accepting the list submitted by Sengezo Shabang. He has reduced our Parliament to a circus and a global laughingstock. What then is the way forward? Where do we go from here? The Citizens' National Assembly met and it has made a resolution. The resolution of this assembly is that it will not subject its deployees to the leadership and control of Sengezo Shabang in the Parliament of Zimbabwe. I have been tasked by the Citizens' National Assembly in light of this resolution that I convene our parliamentary caucus to communicate our party position and consult with our parliamentarians the practical implementation of this resolution. And that caucus will be happening in the next days and will advise you. The Assembly also further resolved that, taking into account that the summit of SADC will be held in the month of August, that SADC should pronounce itself on the question put to it with respect to the outcome of the August 2023 election. That we expect SADC to account to the people of Zimbabwe, who are the sovereign, and at the end of the day, the members of SADC, to say, we made a submission to yourself regarding our concerns on the election that took place in August 2023. The people of Zimbabwe demand that SADC provides them with an answer. I thank you.
That's a lot. That's a lot. But I also still believe that there's no SADC without the people. Remember, SADC is not the president. The president are not SADC. SADC are the people within the parameters of the Southern Development Community. You and I, we are the SADC people. I find it very weird when people are saying, hold on, I've heard a lot of Zimbabweans say, no, forget about SADC, it's over, and whatever the case may be. That's what the problem is with Zimbabweans. That's exactly what the problem is to always believe in everything. To say, okay, no, it's over, let's move on. Did you see that this is one of the reasons why ZANU-PF panicked last week when Chamisa spoke about SADC again? Because at the back of their minds was like, it's over, now we can hoodwink people, now we are saying it's to 2030. Zimbabweans need to start standing up firmly and say no. It's not about what, bear in mind, you are dealing with individuals who have decided what they want. The question is, what do you want? President Emerson Mnangagwa is the president of Zimbabwe. He's an individual. Don't forget that. He's a father with children. He's a husband with kids. He's the president of Zimbabwe, but he's a father. You mustn't forget that. And whatever is talking about the 2030, it does not benefit Zimbabwe. It benefits him as a person. 2030 is his own thing that he's desiring to have. That's his ambition. And he's allowed to have ambition. And you are allowed to have ambitions. What do you want? That's what the problem is with Zimbabweans. What do you want? Because you already, let me just tell you, ZANU-PF over the years, they've played these cards very well, of throwing fear into Zimbabweans so that they don't really stand for what's right. The principles are simple. South Africans, nobody right now is fighting, no political party is fighting for the entire cake. They're much aware of what will happen from the people. The pushback is going to be very much heavy. So it's time for us to ask ourselves questions. Why do we keep on allowing wrong things and why we are sinking? Are you telling me across the world, Zimbabweans, all of us, if we start writing letters across Zimbabwe to say this cannot happen here, they won't hear us? They will. But we will choose. We will choose to tell each other, no, let's just leave it. Oh, ZANU-PF is overrated. And I put this out on record. ZANU-PF is overrated. There's nothing going on there. When you look at the Sengezo Shavangu saga, can this tell you people that are wiser? Honestly, can this show you people who are wiser? They don't have what it takes to build anything. Unfortunately, they do not have what it takes to build anything. Because wise people, if they were wiser, after grabbing the election, was like, guys, come across the board. Now we want to work with every Zimbabwean. Come, let's get the right people who are good for the job. Let's fix our country. Let's curb corruption. Let's curb crime. Do you understand me? Drug addiction. No, they're just playing games. Because they don't have the capacity to fix the country. And you and I, we are sitting here just saying, oh no, we are afraid. But nothing is working. And here's the kicker that people don't think about. The burden is still on the diaspora's shoulders. It's very important for people in Zimbabwe to know, and I'm going to put this on record because I've told you, 30% of people who watch these videos are from Zimbabwe. These videos are circulating in Zimbabwe. It's important for people in Zimbabwe to know, they need to know that diaspora people are tired. Diaspora people are working extremely hard to send money home. For how long is this going to keep on happening? For how long? That's why we need to ask our questions. Because we are not having the right conversations here. We seem to be too comfortable with wrong all the time, and we expect them to manipulate us mentally. I'm not buying it. That's why I did not buy what Sheki said yesterday. I did not buy it. When he started talking about, oh, it's political strategy, I said, shut up. That's Satanism. It's wickedness. What you guys did with Shavangu, there's no strategy here. You know what the strategy is all about? You want me to show you a strategy? What Zuma did, that's a political strategy. What Kasukiro was trying to do last year against ZANU-PF, that was a political strategy to decimate their numbers to the advantages of Zimbabwe. It's democracy. That's what he was trying to do. But majority of people did not get the game. That's what Zuma did. Then you talk about strategy, but don't tell me the strategy when you muzzle on people, when you allow foreigners to loot our minerals at the expense of our people. People in Buhera, some of them don't even know how a diamond ring or gold ring looks like, but gold is just next to them. Lithium, they don't know how it looks like, but it's next to their houses. It's being taken to overseas. Even Sheki confirmed yesterday. He said the problem that we have is that there are people now who are working in cohorts with those foreign nationals, and they're sending our minerals there at the expense of the citizens. And everyone is sitting and just watch, right? We're just watching. And bear in mind, I do not care about who wants what and who's thinking about what. My position, I still stand, is I want to see a Zimbabwe that functions for everyone. A country that respects its own people. You know? Leaders who understand that they are leaders because of the people. Why do you hire a few people to make noise and just do all that? No. I'm talking about real leadership. They made a mistake by sending us all, let us go outside of the country because we've seen how leadership looks like. I keep on referring to the election of South Africa, where everyone is watching. Everyone is watching. They saw the South African election right in our eyes. Look what's happening. Top class. There's no fights here. They will sit around the table and resolve issues. So what stops to happen in Zimbabwe? And this is the kicker. That's why I'm coming back around 9:30. We're going to be looking at the SADC reaction, towards this illegitimacy of President Emerson Mnangagwa. Also looking at the issue of Ramaphosa, we have lost election. Where to from here? Because SADC is coming in and Zimbabweans are pushing back. Where to? Who's going to support ZANU-PF? You have seen Wicknell gallivanting. We're going to be looking at that again. Trying to stand with buying people and talk all manner of things. No, we are 20 steps ahead. My point is, where to from here? That would be the most important part. Where to from here? Zimbabweans do not fold. Stand for what's right. It's not an issue of saying what does someone wants. And all people have the right to want anything. Let me tell you, there's so many things that I want, but are they good for me? No. Trust me, if I could get anything that I want, I should be married today with a billionaire that loves me, give me anything that I want. Maybe I wouldn't be even talking the way that I'm doing it. But let me tell you, God didn't allow it. You know why? Because He wanted me here. because he wanted me to speak right now, speaking on behalf of the vulnerable. So he said, no way, it's not going to happen, because maybe my husband will be like, baby, not in this house. But you know what? I can make my own decision. I can burn on my own if I want, if I have to burn. No, but you know what I mean? I can take the risk on my own and carry it on my shoulder. And then I can call God who sent me and said, you send me. You're going to have to be my backup. Stand here and fight for me. You know, you're going to hold the mouth of lions. You fight before me. You go before me, make all the crooked ways straight. You're going to stand for me. You make sure the eyes of the wicked won't see me. Anybody who may plan to hurt me, let them die before they get here. Any plan that they can have, cause confusion in the enemy's camp. Let them kill each other there for you to serve me. Some will understand how the world works, what's really going down in the country. We need to speak truth to power. It's the right thing or nothing. It's the right things or nothing, right? It's not like I'm going to think, I said it's the right thing or nothing, you know, or nothing. Other people are doing it. Other countries are doing it. Why not us? Again, it boils down to what do we want? What do you and I want? If we want a country to function, then it cannot function on the platform of deception. There's a lot of deception in Zimbabwe, a lot of deceivers. People are good at deceiving each other. They will just playing all the gimmicks. Are you telling me that the qualified Mr. Mudenda in Parliament, the Speaker of Parliament, don't know that what he's doing is wrong? The question is, why is he doing it? They need to answer Zimbabweans, why is he doing what he's doing? All right, so moving on. When I close here, this was the most interesting part, which I've told you last time. Your reputation is going to matter in the new Zimbabwe. Your reputation is going to matter in the new Zimbabwe. Get this right, reputation. So I'm going to read this tweet that was sent by Chofamba. He said, in happier times, Donald Trump couldn't have possibly imagined his tryst with the porn actress Stormy Daniels would one day come back and threaten to screw his presidential re-election ambitions. If he does get a custodial sentence and misses the November election, Daniels' romp with Trump would in fact turn out to be an inadvertent rescue mission for America's democracy. And this inscription would have to be added to the Statue of Liberty, American democracy saved by porn. So one thing I want to tell you Zimbabweans that most people should remember always is that your reputation in the new Zimbabwe will matter. That's why I look at most people that are doing all their shenanigans and it's all there in the public domain. Are you much aware that things are going to change drastically? You know, like the dream of the night. We're going to wake up and bam, the country is different. Some people, where are you going to hiding? Where are you going to hide? I feel for you, yeah. I feel for you. Your reputation matters. Some of you are going to be the most successful business people. And let me tell you, when you're at the peak of your business and you're not the billionaire in town, maybe you have ambitions, because you're young, you've got ambitions to be either, maybe a member of parliament, or you want to be a chief justice, whatever the case may be. Things are going to change. Hear me out. Boom. Your reputation starts coming out. I always tell women and men as well, that beware of how you're playing your cards. Things are going to change, yo. Women, you know, we've got so much to lose, don't we? This is why I'm very much aware. Let me tell you, I have a friend of mine who was dating someone, and then fast forward, she met another man again. He was a cousin to the one that she had dated before. You know, let me tell you, Zimbabwe is a small country. Okay, Zimbabwe is a small country. So your actions will catch up with you. You know, when you look at Johannesburg, Zimbabweans here, it's a small country. It's possible to play with someone and meet another person who knows him on the other side of town. I can guarantee you, Zimbabwe is a small country. Play your cards right, y'all. Some of you, it's going to be hard. Don't say we didn't warn you because of your actions that are foolish. Right? That's why I'm very careful. When I meet people in relationships, there are things that I don't do. You know why? My reputation matters. I don't want people to use that against me tomorrow. You know, I'm not going to lose my successful man that God has in store for me. A good man, a king, you know. I'm not going to lose that man because of someone who's just passing by. You know what I'm saying? It takes wisdom to know that your reputation matters. Notwithstanding you're a woman or you're a man. Because some of you are too loose. You're too loose for your purpose. You are way too loose. Anything and anyhow. Your reputation matters. Look where Mr. Trump is now. With all the money, but reputation. That's why the Bible says, and a good name is more important than silver and gold. A good name. And I said this to the President, Master Mnangagwa, sir, a good name. Today, honestly, I even forget that we used to have Robert Mugabe. You know why? Because of the pain he caused the people of Zimbabwe. A good name. Vana Mr. Mudenda, people in parliament, Vana Shavangu, a good name. You must be careful that, so I guess it's got a son at the University of Cape Town. People don't think a good name. All this is going to pass. All this drama is going to pass. A good name. You know how many times people who bastardize Kasukiro all the time? A good name. Oh, I wish people can learn. But I guess we don't learn, right? Power corrupts and corrupts absolutely. People don't learn. Because when you're mistreating people, it's going to catch up with you with time. A good name. And I repeat, a good name. Your reputation matters. Ask me, I'll tell you. I'm a businesswoman, I know. I've made mistakes before. Your reputation matters. A good name. And I repeat, a good name. Always remember, in all that you do in the Zimbabwean context today, a good name. A good name. That's why when you want to be married, you must tell your parents, they must look, who's this person? I know, baby. They will do their research, right? Check those that want to cut corners. Those marriages fell apart. You know why? Because the reputation was broken. Very important, your reputation. So I appeal to the girls, especially my girls, you've got so much to lose. Many can navigate stuff and get away with so many things because they've got the power to control. But my girls, your name matters. Kids from university, your name. What you're playing around right now is going to come out. You imagine when you find this good man who wants to marry you. Oh, manner of, and then all these things come out. Things are going to change, all right? So play your cards smart. A good name is far better than silver and gold. Mr. Chiwenga, the VP, Mohadi, sir, me as your daughter, a good name. It's far better than this that you're busy fighting for, unnecessary things. Far better. Reputation. Let people remind you for doing the right thing, not for hating your own people. There's no need. We don't have to hate each other. There is no need. We just need to love one another. Make sure we focus on growing our country and do what's good for the country. The country that we're going to enjoy, all of us. It's our country. It's not going anywhere. In fact, we're going to leave it, all of us. In the next 50, 60 years, all of us will be in heaven. We're going to leave this world. It's not our home. So what are we doing? Fighting each other for nothing. We can do better. Can learn from a South African situation. Look, that's why I always say you can't beat the etiquette for South Africans. Top class. Someone get my elections, I got no, but it's okay. We can sort that out. Do you know, if Zimbabwe was a very stable in terms of our democracy, even if elections are rigged, let me tell you, and people know that, no, but at the end of the day, we're going to sit around the table. There won't be no fights. We won't even need SADC to come in and intervene. We won't even need all these protests that are being planned. We won't even need all these conversations. Right now, you know what I'll be talking about? Maybe I'll be in Utara right now, teaching girls. Or I'll be at another school right now, helping young people on how to focus on their purpose. Maybe some of you are engineers. You'll be at another school teaching skills of engineering, growing our people. That's what we'll be focusing on. But here we are still fighting for freedom in 2024. We are fighting for freedom. After how many years under the guise or this toxicity of ZANU-PF? 40 years, 40 something years. It's a shame. It's really a shame. We are saying a good name. Let them hear us. Let them hear us speaking. As women, we are standing up and said, fathers, fight for your names. History will judge you deeply. Your children, we have to be accountable one day. And they have to answer questions they don't even remember because of your actions, unnecessary actions. Treat people with respect. Treat them the way that you want to be treated. That's all I'm going to say. Always remember a good name. I love you all. May God bless you, and may God bless Zimbabwe. Okay. So guys, while you prepare so that we can meet at home, because we will meet in Zimbabwe, there's no doubt about that. Nobody can stand it. Nobody will stop it. I can tell you. Nobody. We are going to be meeting in Zimbabwe. I love you. Guys, I love you and God bless you. Bye for now.